Alright guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be talking about whether Carson Wentz can make this team, the Colts, a threat. So I'm going to talk about the Colts today, and we're talking about Carson Wentz, and whether he could be a fit enough to actually change things. So last year, I'd say they had a pretty good season, made the playoffs as the 7th seed in the AFC, as the NFL changed it to have 7 seeds in each conference instead of 6, and now they're going to have 17 games instead of 16 this coming 21 and 22 season. And with all that out of the way, I'm going to get into it here. So they went into the 7th seed, lost by 3 points to the Buffalo Bills, who ended up going to the AFC Championship. I wouldn't say it was a bad year at all for them. Phillip Rivers still had a good year, and their defense has been pretty good as well. So will Carson Wentz be a good fit? That is the ultimate question. Will he change things? Well, I don't know about changing things, but one point I want to bring up is that the Colts made a good decision in trying to acquire him. And why is this? Well, Phillip Rivers was retiring, so they're going to have to wait with the draft pick, either trade up for a draft pick, which I really don't think they wanted to do. They didn't want to trade players. They liked what they were having with their core, and I don't think they wanted to trade to try to get a drafted quarterback. And they kind of wanted to keep going, not have necessarily for the future, but win now. So they tried to get Wentz, who at one point was great. Insane quarterback who people thought was going to be like the next generation crazy good quarterback. Didn't really work out that way. After that season, he got hurt, and Nick Foles took over. They won the Super Bowl. And he came back, never really was the same. In 2018, his completion percentage was 69.6%, and it kept going down from there. It did not get any better. 2019, 63.9%, and now 2020, 57.4%, and on his career, 62.7%. So let's take a look at this year and how well he did. Well, he had 2,620 yards, and he had 250 completions, and out of 437 attempts. So I'd say, all things considered, he had a lot of holes in his offensive line, and he was benched at one point in this season, and I think the Eagles are okay. I think this is going to be okay for the Eagles because they have Hurts, which he has played pretty well this season when he has had chances, and I think he'll do pretty well. I think he will. So I don't think the Eagles have to worry. But for the Colts, I'd say it really doesn't matter how he plays right now because they can always trade him away. That's not really what I want to happen. I want him to do well in the Colts. I would like him to see him do well in the Colts. But I am not sure if that's going to be the case because they could, have him for now. At least he'll be decent for them. At least he'll be solid, hopefully with a better offensive line. He should be solid and able to help them and take them to the next level. Just by having, a solid quarterback, they're at least prolonging a rebuild. They're instead of having to go into rebuild mode, they can stick with his quarterback, take a chance on him, and he's got some talent to throw to. And he's also got a run game that will open up for passing. Well, the Eagles didn't have too much of that. Jonathan Taylor has been excellent, has been stellar. He's been great this season. He totaled up 1,169 yards with 12 touchdowns and 299 receiving yards. That is great. He had a great season. Jonathan Taylor is one of the best, and that'll open up the passing game for Wentz to give it to any of the wide receivers, including Ty Hilton. So he notched up 762 yards and 5 touchdowns. And you already have better players because the Eagles did suffer from injuries quite a bit. But now on the defensive side of things, even though the Eagles' defense is pretty good, the Colts' defense is as well, with DeForest Buckner putting up 9.5 sacks and Dianko Autry putting up 7.5 sacks. The Colts having 15 interceptions on the year. So, with all this said, I just, basically listed off stats for players, right? That's kind of, stats help determine something, but you can't have all stats, but you also can't have all opinions. You have to bring in both from the mix and kind of prove your point that way. So that's what I'm doing. And what I think will happen, I don't think he'll be the former player he used to be when he was excellent and crazy good. But I think he'll be better than he was stat-wise on the Eagles. And I think they'll be better than the 7th seed this year. not much better, but I think they'll be better. I think they will. I think they'll do better. But every team improves, so they're going to have to improve and do really well and see how he fits. And I hope Carson Wentz fits with this team. I can't be sure, but really, the Colts didn't have to give up too much for him. Some picks, and really just they didn't really have to give too much, so they didn't have to gamble. I mean, they didn't have to be like, hey, we're giving up all this for this guy to get a quarterback who we don't even know if he'll perform well, They kind of did it with like, we'll take a chance on him. If he doesn't work, it's not the end of the world. We give up a little bit, but not enough to put us in a hole. Not enough to make us somewhat of a threat. Not Super Bowl contending threat, but I think there'll be some team that you don't want to have to face. So without further ado, I'm going to end the video, and make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications if you enjoyed it for more content, and see you next time.